Hi, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. Today I thought I would share and attempt to rank my TwoTone 45s. Now, TwoTone Records were a DIY independent label that began in a Coventry flat in 1979, whose roster of bands burst out of the deprived streets of Coventry. So we had the Selector and the Specials, and they were joined by Birmingham's The Beat, or the English Beat as they're called in North America, and London's Madness, and together formed this kind of post-punk ska revival that really reflected the nation's anxieties here in 1980s Britain. So here's my top 20. So at number 20 I've gone with collectible but not very good, the Higsons, and this is Run Me Down. Charlie Higson went on to star in one of my favourite TV programmes, The Fast Show. And at number 19 I've gone with the Swinging Cats and Mantovani. Again, collectible, no idea why, it's not very good. It's like fairground music. That's at number 19. At number 18 I've gone with the double A side of Easy Life and Too Experienced by the Body Snatchers. At number 17 I've gone with my least favourite special single, and that's Stereotype, back with International Jet Set. At number 16 I've gone with Rico Rodriguez, the Jamaican trombonist. This is his solo record, or actually a record with Special AK, called Jungle Music. And at number 15, Sea Cruise, again by Rico, back with his version of Carolina. Next up, we've got The Boiler by Rhoda Dakar, the lead singer in the Body Snatchers, and the Special AK. Now, this was a song that was written by the Body Snatchers. It's a really harrowing tale, but they never released it themselves. It describes rape in really stark detail, and as a result got fairly limited airplay, but still managed to get top 40. But harrowing, it's got a kind of spoken lyric to it. It's a harrowing song. At number 13 I've gone with the debut from Madness. This is The Prince. So hailing from Camden Town, they were formed originally as the North London Invaders in '76 until they changed their name when Suggs arrived on lead vocals. It's of course a tribute to ska singer Prince Buster, whose song Madness is on the B-side, and that also clearly inspired the band's name. They went on to bigger and better things, you know, One Step Beyond and my favourite by them, Night Boat to Cairo, but I'm not including them in the ranking today. Then next up, this is number 12, Do Nothing. This is the Specials single after Stereotype, the one before Ghost Town, I think. Anyway, it was the first two-tone 45 to have a picture sleeve, and that's Do Nothing. I think that was a top 5 for them. At number 11 I've gone with Let's Do Rock Steady by the Body Snatchers. So this is Rhoda Dakar again and her all-girl group, Body Snatchers. This got to, certainly it was in the top 40 in 1980. It's a cover of a Rocksteady song by Dandy Livingstone, which was recorded in the late 60s. And that's at number 11. So we're into the top 10. At number 10 I've gone with the double A side of Tears of a Clown, backed with Ranking Full Stop by the Beats. Now, given that Jerry Dammer's original concept for two-tone was for a British Motown, it's fitting that Birmingham band The Beat dared to reinvent Smokey Robinson's song. This reached maybe number 5, certainly it was top 10 in the UK, but doesn't appear on their debut, I Just Can't Stop It, on Go Feet Records, which was the label they went to after this. That was the only single they did on two-tone, and they did go on to better things. Their debut single, Hands Off She's Mine, and their second single, Mirror in the Bathroom, was certainly better. So at number 9 I've gone with 3 Minute Hero by the Selector. This is dreaming of escaping the humdrum monotony of a 9-to-5 existence, and I think what this single does is it wonderfully encapsulates the hopelessness of working in the repetitive rat race, and of course it clocks in at exactly 3 minutes. At number 8 I've gone with a really joyous anthem, but it's a protest song, a latter day two-tone single by the Special AKA, and it's Nelson Mandela, a protest against the imprisonment of Nelson Mandela by the then apartheid South African government. It's a joyous song, I love it. Following the breakup of the original Specials, Jerry Dammers formed the Special AKA. This went top 10 and, more importantly, soundtracked the downfall of apartheid, so a really good single. That was at number 8. At number 7, I've gone with Missing Words by the Selector. So in contrast to the band's previous singles on my radio, 3 Minute Hero, this is quite a downbeat song about heartbreak. released in 1980. A massive influence on this single was Elvis Costello, apparently, with chord changes just like Watching the Detectives, allegedly. At number 6, we've got The Specials and Rat Race from 1980, written by their guitarist Roddy Radiation. What a great name. Released in 1980, double A side. It's got Rude Boys Out of Jail on the other side. Iconic track that I don't think was included on the UK edition of More Specials. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I don't think it is from memory. So we're in the top 5. At number 5, I've gone with, this should be a double A, it's not, but anyway, On My Radio by The Selector. This predates The Selector, this song. It was released in 79, it's their debut. It got top 10 in the UK singles and would be their most successful single. The B-side is Too Much Pressure, which I love. That's a great song. It's the title track from their debut album. From when was their debut? 1980. It's got that brilliant call and response chart of Too Much Pressure on it. I love it. And that's at number 5. At number 4, I've gone with A Message to You, Rudy by The Specials, featuring Rico, that Jamaican trombonist who actually featured on the original of this, because this is a take on a rocksteady classic by Dandy Livingstone, originally called Rudy, A Message to You. So Rico Rodriguez played on the original cut and plays on this. It's backed with Nightclub. I think this went top 10 possibly in 1979. At number 3, so we're into the top 3 now. At number 3, I've gone for Too Much Too Young by The Special AKA, featuring Rico. It's also on the B-side. It's got Skinhead Symphony, Long Shot Kick the Bucket, Liquidator, Skinhead Moonstock and Guns of Navarone as well on here. Absolutely brilliant. It's one of the first, or one of the few in-concert singles to top the UK chart. Really raucous performance, recorded I think at the Lyceum in London. It's based on the 69 song Birth Control by Lloyd Chalmers, and it's just so danceable. It's brilliant. At number 2, I've gone for the debut single by The Specials and the first single to come out of TwoTone, and that's Gangsters, Special AKA, back with The Selector by The Selector. So they were originally known as the Coventry Automatics. They changed their name. They were formed in 77, I think, and the Clash's manager took them under their wing and they morphed into The Special AKA, and they kind of evolved their sound from like reggae rock to much more Jamaican ska. This is the first two-tone 45 Gangsters, and it's obviously based on Prince Buster's Al Capone, and it's known for its opening line, Bernie Rhodes knows, don't argue, and Bernie Rhodes was the manager of the Clash. The Specials needed a B-side. They'd spent all their budget, I think, so they unearthed an instrumental, a rocksteady instrumental, which they'd made 2 years previous, and that was The Selector. And knowing that the name The Selector had been established, then the band were established shortly after that. And that's my number 2. Great single from 1979, Gangsters by The Special AKA. And apparently Jerry Dammers wrote Gangsters on Joe Strummer's guitar during supporting them on a tour once, you know. And there's the French version on Chrysalis Records, of which Two-Tone was part. And at number 1, therefore, there can only be one. And this is a song that absolutely encapsulates the anxieties of being in Britain in 1980 with urban decay and deindustrialisation and unemployment and violence in Britain's inner cities. You know, the future looked quite bleak at that point. Thatcherite Britain really wasn't working. It was a pretty grim time. Just before I went to university, this single is Ghost Town, of course, by The Specials, released in the summer of '81, shortly after the Brixton riots in London, and just prior to the unrest that we witnessed over here in Toxteth in Liverpool, Handsworth in Birmingham, in Leeds, in Moss Side in Manchester. It was a biting indictment of Thatcher's Conservative Britain. It topped the charts for a couple of weeks, I believe. It has a really good video that goes with it as well. Really haunting track, and certainly one of the most evocative songs of the era, and that's my favourite Two-Tone single. Let me know what you think about my order in the comments below, and I'm sure I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Cheers.